Hola estudiantes, esta lección es sobre los verbos ser y estar y sus diferencias. Es repaso porque esta gramática ustedes aprendieron en Español 1 y en Español 2. Remember that ser and estar both mean to be, but they are used in different situations and have different meanings. In other words, they're not interchangeable. Let's make a list of when to use the verb ser. The first reason why we would use the verb ser to say to be is to describe permanent characteristics of objects and people. Por ejemplo, esa canción es muy original. That song is very original. I could also say, ese profesor es muy inteligente. That teacher is very intelligent. It's describing the permanent characteristic of an object or of a person. We also use ser to indicate origin. That means where a person is from. Nationality, also where a person is from. But for origin, you'll see de. And for nationality, you'll see a nationality like Mexicano, Puerto Riqueño, Español, and so on. We can also use it to indicate their profession. Here's a profession. Mi tía es escritora. My aunt is a writer. Es de Madrid. He is from, showing origin, Madrid. For nationality, I could say something like, mi amigo es puertorriqueño. My friend is Puerto Rican. That's his nationality. We also use ser to indicate when and where something takes place. Now, this is a really tricky concept for students to understand because sometimes when they see a place, they automatically want to write a star or say a star because they're thinking of the rhyme how you feel and where you are, always use the verb estar. Where you are with a star is talking about the location of where something is, but that's different than this use of ser. This use of ser is to indicate where something takes place. So for this bullet point, I want you to think of the word an event. If I'm saying where an event takes place, like es en el teatro, the concert is in the theater, that's saying where something takes place, where an event takes place, and I want you to use ser. I also use ser to indicate when it takes place. El concierto es el viernes. The concert is on Friday. So if you see a date, if you see a day of the week, you're going to use ser to say when and where the event is happening. Then lastly, we use ser to indicate possession. I want you to look for the word de to show that it belongs to somebody. Because remember, there's no apostrophe S in Spanish. So whenever we say that something belongs to somebody, we have to say es de that person. La guitarra es de Elisa. The guitar belongs to Elisa. Because you can't say Elisa's guitar in Español. All right, now let's talk about when to use the verb estar. The first reason to use estar is to describe temporary characteristics, emotional states, or conditions. So look for things that could change. You know, you could go from full to empty or from happy to sad. In this case, open or closed. El teatro está cerrado a esta hora. The theater is closed at this hour. At another hour, it's opened, but right now it's closed. Los actores están muy nerviosos. The actors are very nervous. That's a temporary emotional state. And then we also use estar to indicate location. Now remember, this is the tricky one I was talking about. This says, el conjunto está en el escenario. The band is on the stage. So this is not saying where an event takes place. It's just indicating the location of the band. Where are they? They're on the stage. We use estar to form the progressive tense. If you don't remember what that means, the progressive tense, when verbs end in AR, you remove the AR and you change it to ando. And when the verbs end in ER or IR, you remove the ER or the IR and you change it to yendo. So in order to talk in the progressive tense, before we do the ando or the yendo, we need a form of estar. Like this sentence, El bailarín está interpretando a Cabral. The dancer is interpreting Cabral. So when I see an ando or a yendo, I need the verb estar to support it, because I need to say is dancing, are singing. I can't just say singing. Now, this part's a little tricky. Sometimes it's okay to use both ser or estar, depending on what you want to say, because some adjectives have different meanings depending on whether you use ser or estar. So I can say, la bailarina es bonita or la bailarina está muy bonita hoy. And those are both correct sentences, but they don't mean the same thing. If I say la bailarina es bonita, I'm saying the dancer is pretty, as in she's just a pretty person. But if I say la bailarina está muy bonita hoy, I'm saying the dancer looks pretty today. She doesn't always look this pretty because today she's wearing makeup and she's super dressed up. So depending on whether I use ser or estar, it changes the meaning of the sentence. Another example, el cómico es aburrido versus el cómico está aburrido. If I say el cómico es aburrido, he's just a boring comic. He's not that funny. He doesn't make anybody laugh. But if I say el cómico está aburrido, I'm saying he is bored. So maybe he's sitting in the audience watching a theater show that he's not into, and so he's bored. So both ser and estar are grammatically correct, but they're communicating different things about the comic. Another example is with the adjective rico. If I say el cantante es rico, I'm saying he has a lot of money, he's wealthy. But if I say el postre está rico, I couldn't say el postre es rico because it's not like a dessert can be wealthy, but I can say it tastes very good, like it's very rich in its texture and its flavor. So what I'm trying to tell you is that sometimes whether you use ser or estar can both be correct, but it depends on what you're trying to say. Now, some students like to use acronyms to remember when to use ser or estar. So I went ahead and put in a link to SpanishDict.com, and there's an entire page on ser versus estar, and it goes over acronyms that you can use to help you remember when to use the one and the other. So this link goes over acronyms that you can use. For ser, you can use the acronym DOCTOR, and DOCTOR stands for descriptions, occupations, characteristics, time, origin, and relationships. And then this particular link goes over an example of each: descriptions, occupations, characteristics, time, origin, and relationships for ser. And then for estar, it gives the acronym PLACE. PLACE stands for position, location, action, condition, and emotion. And then they also give one called LOCO, locations and conditions. And they give an example or several examples of position, location, action, conditions, and emotions. And I didn't want to go over all of those in this video because some of you are already really great at ser and estar, but for those of you that need an acronym to help you memorize, this link on Spanish Dict, I'm really impressed with how they explain it and the examples that they give. And if you're having a hard time, this could be really helpful. Also, it talks about what I was mentioning at the end about meaning changes with ser and estar. So this gives some good translations, like if I say that somebody es cansado versus somebody está cansado. They're a tiring person if I use ser, they're tired if I use estar. So it gives even more examples of those as well. So if you're still struggling with this concept, I would encourage you to head to this website, and if not, that is it. Hasta luego.